So we're going to explore that interview that she had, where she talks about um, her time trying to date and being a virgin and disclosing that. We're also going to go through some other information that will pertain to that will kind of clear up some of this, because we got so many women out here that are basically giving women the impression that they can wait forever to have children. They can go out and they can be track stars, astronauts, nuclear physicists, whatever they want to do, and they can put off children and family, and at a later date, they can come back 50, 60 years old when they're still looking good and all of that, and they can still have babies, and men will still want them, and life is good, and it's a fairy tale ending will still be had by one and all. Well, that's not the truth, ladies, and somebody's going to have to start sharing the reality of what's out there and what you're going to have to face in this world when you start putting off things in your best years, when you look your best, when you feel your best. Men are looked at as like an afterthought now, as if they'll always be out here just waiting for you for when you're ready, and you can come back with whatever kind of attitude, whatever you're bringing, men will be ready to smoke it up. So let's take a look at this story here. And first, maybe I'll let you hear the interview, and let you hear what she has to say. Okay. Maybe that won't play. So let's just go up here and we'll see. Get up to the presentation here. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, here we go. Here's a story here. And we've got LoLo here. She's talking about, the Olympian says, revealing she's a 40-year-old virgin has destroyed her life. And the story is with Dominic Smithers. Okay. So LoLo Jones is one of the most successful hurdlers in the history of the U.S. athletics, winning countless gold medals during her career. Not content with her success in that event, though, the 40-year-old switched to become part of the country's bobsledding team, again winning gold at the World Championships and competing at the Olympics. The switch meant that she is one of the few athletes to star at both the Summer and Winter Games. However, her laser focus and her religious beliefs have meant that her love life has suffered. We talked about, Kevin Samuels talked about women throwing up religion and, using that to put off, marriage and whatnot. And, he talked about how, really women need to focus on trying to get into family and marriage as, in earlier in their years, in college. Before they leave college, they need to, try to find somebody that is good, for them to start a family with. But it seems like that Black women are kind of falling off with that. We're just not, we just don't put that at the forefront of our focus. So Jones goes on to say, says Jones has always been open about the fact that she only wanted to have sex once she was married and to start a family. The sprinter revealed that she was a virgin on Twitter back in 2012. She then opened up about it during an interview on HBO's Real Sports with Ryan Gumble. Discussing the motivation behind her abstinence, Jones said it was the hardest thing she'd ever done. It's just something, a gift I want to give to my husband, which is admirable. I appreciate her position on that, and it is an admirable position. I don't want anybody to believe that I don't think that that's the case, but she goes on to say, but please understand, this journey has been hard. There's virgins out there. I'm going to let them know it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Okay. Wish I could get this to play. No, it's not going to play. Let's see if I can refresh the screen. Okay, there we go. So we're going to play it from there, but we're not going to show the video.
Lolo, you've told the Twitter sphere that you're a virgin.
Yeah. Hands were shaking when I did that.
What made you say that? Why do you want people to know that?
I mean, I just don't believe in it. I want to wait till I'm married to have sex. My mom, she was my dad for 20 years. They never got married, and they're not together anymore. So I just want that.
And there, you hear her say that, and that is, that's admirable. That's kind of what we all want. That's what most men want. However, I got to be honest. I've never really wanted a virgin. I want, somebody that had a little bit more experience, and love for, I guess for sex, than someone who is a virgin who's starting out kind of clumsy and whatnot. That was always my view of it. But I realize there's a lot of guys out here who basically feel that they want a virgin. I don't know. Maybe that just never was my thing, I guess. But let's go on. Let's listen a little bit more of what she has to say here.
I want to have that solid bond. That's just a gift I want to give to my husband. So.
Wow.
But please understand, this journey has been hard. I'm not. Or if there's virgins out there, I'm gonna let them know it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Harder than training for the Olympics, harder than graduating from college has been to stay a virgin before marriage.
Now you hear the anguish in her voice at having to abstain, and this is one of the things that I've always said, that this is why abstinence is not natural. Everybody says, well, being with one person is natural and all this. Well, if it was so natural, why do you have to fight so hard to be monogamous? If it was natural, then we would just go to it. We would just get into our relationships and be monogamous. There would be no fighting. There would be no longing to experience anything else or to do anything different. We would just be a bunch of monogamous people, and there would be no cheating, and everything would be everything. But obviously that's just not the way the world is it? And some of us are okay with that, okay with the knowledge that is just not the way things are. That it is a task, a journey to stay monogamous with one person and not get bored, and that other person not put other things ahead of you, or feel like other things are more important, or just not want to have sex, period. And I find that a lot of women, after they've had it, for a little while, they're just like, I really don't have to do that anymore. I mean, tried some of these Reddit forums and whatnot, where they talk about, these people in these sexless marriages and whatnot, and just read what some of these women are saying. They'd rather do everything else other than have sex. And then you have other women on there, who say that basically their men aren't having sex with them and they just don't make it a priority and whatnot. And I just think that that's crazy as hell. But you see people out here who just don't have sex with their significant other, and they expect these people to just stick around. So that's another part of the equation that I think people should look into before they get married, and really look at sex from a realistic point of view. Because I think it's downplayed in our society. The importance of it is downplayed in our society. So let's listen in a little bit more of this.
Tempted. I've had plenty of opportunities.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, well, I'm 1 year out from turning 30, so I say if they're making a sequel to the 30-Year-Old Virgin, I am their candidate. I would.
Okay. So at this time when she did that interview, she was a few years out from being 30. So now she's waited another 10 years, and now she's 40. Okay. So now she's in tears because she's finally realized that she's waited too late. She can't have kids now. So her ability to give her husband a child is gone. And that is a big deal. But ladies, if you don't know, you might want to start listening. Your value drops a whole lot. I don't care what you look like. Yeah, we go after looks and whatnot, but still we're going to weigh the whole package. You look good, and sex will be great, but I won't be able to have any kids. So I can't, my line is going to die. My name is going to die out. My family lineage is going to die out if I marry this woman who no longer can have kids, or, she's still trying to have kids. And then we're into geriatric pregnancy range. So, those are the things you have to think about. So, if you want to see the rest of the article, I'll put the link in the description. But she says that it's harder than the Olympic training, harder than graduating from college has been to stay a virgin before marriage. Jones later admitted that it was a mistake to admit to being a virgin, as it really impacted her love life. Speaking to Kevin Hart on his Cold as Balls podcast, she said, "That was a mistake. That killed all my dates after that. Like, didn't even have a chance. Like before, at least I had a chance. Before I tiptoe, okay, when's a good time to tell him?" And she says, "Do I wait until he sees my personality or a little bit, or do I just drop the bomb?" So, as you can see, once men knew that she was a virgin, they didn't even want to approach her. So, that ought to tell you something. Men want sex. Men think sex is important. If you make it to where there's not even a chance that you can have sex with a beautiful, attractive woman who's fit and whatnot, then they're, in their minds, their programming kicks in and says, why should I even try? Why should I even make an attempt? There's no carrot before the cart, Women usually dangle sex before us like we're the jackass pulling the cart in order for us to do things. So if that's no longer out there, if there's no bait to encourage us to pull the cart, to fix shit around the house, to take you around places, to try to impress you and take care of you and do things, if we're not going to get anything for that, then we have no reason to do it. There's no incentive, to even be in a relationship with a woman if there's no sex involved, because all the other interaction that women think are important, the personality and all those things. Look, you can go hang out with the boys and get personality, and, you can talk about things that you like, that guys like to talk about and all that. But the one thing about being with the guys that you can't get is you can't get sex. So that's why we leave the guys and go get with our girls. And we like spending time with you because we're sexually attracted to you. Even after we've had sex with you, we still have, the hormones, the bonding hormones that are still present after we've had sex with you, that makes us want to still be around you. And for some reason, women know the ones who know the science behind this, know the mechanism behind why everything works the way it works. They still, in their minds, have this other scenario working that puts it into another, working order. But that's not the way it is. It is the way it is. And it's like making a statement. And when you make a statement to a woman, you say it in a certain way, but she hears a totally different thing. It's like an interpretation of what you're saying to her instead of listening word for word for what you're saying. You know, have you guys ever experienced that where you're talking to a person and no matter what you're saying, they get something else out of what you're saying. You go, I never fucking said that. I mean, where'd you get that from? You know, and then you get into arguments or a person has a certain attitude based on their interpretation of what you said as opposed to what you actually said. You know, that's kind of like this. But let's move on. Okay, she says, okay, before you drop the bomb. So as you can see, she's an attractive lady. You know, now she's 40. And here we go. And she told the comedian that not having sex actually impacted her sporting career. I have a higher level of intensity because I don't have any pressure to release. I don't think that's true. You have a lot of pressure to release, and you're releasing it into that sport that you're doing, you know? And that's the same thing like with guys. If you don't have sex before, you know, running track, playing football, you know, basketball, whatever the case may be, you have a higher intensity. You have a higher focus on what you're doing. But if you've had sex before you've engaged in that sport, you tend to do a little bit worse. I mean, that's been a thought process that has been, or a theory that's been going on with sports for years and years. So she's got it backwards in this. So again, she says, I have a higher level of intensity because I don't have any pressure to release. No, you have pressure to release. Then she says, everybody knows me as stressed out, she said. Having sex actually helps you as an athlete, a female athlete. It's good for your hormones. So I'm running at a disadvantage. Not. Okay. So she goes on to say, fearing that she was running out of time last year, she began the process of freezing her eggs. And after being told that she had a great egg reserve for her age, then she goes, you see the picture here, I'm about to be 40. Is it too late to freeze my eggs? So she's losing it now because that wall is fast approaching. You know, men are not going to want to deal with you at 40. And I'm here to tell you that, you know, your first time at 40 as opposed to your first time at 18 or 20 or whatnot, it's not the same thing. It's not going to be the same intensity. You know, there's a drop off. You know, sex throughout the years, people say, oh, it gets better with time. No, your understanding gets better. But the physical aspects of the sex do not get better over time. That hasn't been my experience. You know, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm sure there's other people can, you know, sound off on that in the comments. But I just know that's not my experience. You know, your body is not the same body when you're 18, in your 20s and whatnot. You know, when you start having those bad knees, bad backs, you know, your intensity level during sex goes down. Your ability to go for long periods decreases. You know, all those things. You know, there are changes that take place. You know, different levels of hormones. You know, for women, you start getting. I mean, she's at 40. She's getting close to early menopause there also. And if she hits that, she may have no sex drive whatsoever. Not to mention hot flashes and all of the other things that women go through that makes it difficult. Painful sex because she no longer has lubrication, a natural lubrication that builds from her being aroused. Those things. So let's go on and hit the last of this. It says, despite being teased about her sexual inexperience, Jones said that she's taking steps to make sure she and her future partner can have a child of their own. Okay, so you're 40, and by the time you have your child at 40, by the time your child gets to, out of high school, you're going to be ancient history. I mean, you're going to be 60 something years old. If it's at that time, if you're 50, that you're going to be, 70 something by the time your child is. So you're not going to be around to be able to experience your child much. And then think about running around, taking your child to daycare, trying to play with your child at 40 and 50 years old. Let me tell you, man, at 50 years old, it's a bitch just getting up trying to go to work, getting enough sleep, eating properly, You may be in a better financial place in your life, but physically, you're worn down. I know everybody has this, they show all of this shit on TV where you're just, I'm in the best days of my life. And you're walking around, you see this guy, he's all grayed up and shit, and he's running and he's all muscled up and shit. That's bullshit, y'all. That is bullshit. That is not the reality for the mass majority of people in America right now. Most people are obese. They've worked the shit out of themselves, so they've got bone problems, they've got heart problems from eating all of this rich ass food and stuff that they feed us. There's all kinds of issues that you start having as you grow older in life. And I don't know if you paid attention, but if you look at the obituaries, a lot of people are dying in their 40s and 50s now. So you might wait up until the time to where you're in your 40s and have a kid and die. What about that? Nobody, talks about that. I've got classmates that I went to college with that are dead, 40, 50-year-olds, dead, 53, dead. And people are talking about waiting till 40 and 50 and finding their soulmate and shit. I mean, this is people need to really wake up and start looking at things realistically. That's why the birth rates are down, the marriage rates are down, because people are not looking at life in a realistic fashion. But let's move on. Let's finish up this article. I have made the right move to prepare for the family in my life. For a family, if me and my husband want to try to have kids one day. We have options, she said in a post to Instagram. No one should be shamed for taking their time to figure out who their life partner is. According to who? See, this is feminism right here. This is an indication of information paralysis. You have all this information and you feel like you have so many choices that it paralyzes you. And this is another example of the women's store, where the woman just continues to go floor after floor after floor because she has choices. And there's up the next floor, there's going to be a better choice. The next floor, there's going to be a better choice. Then you get up to the last floor and there's nothing there. So you missed your boat. There's no choices. There's nothing for you to choose from, and your life's over. So you walk back down past all those people that are happy, walk your ass out of the store, and you don't have anything. That's what this is right here. So she feels like society's shaming her for taking her time. How much fucking time do you need? Is the question that somebody should ask, goddamn, they got to put, time limits on the ACT, the SAT, all kinds of tests that we have in life, because some people will sit in that fucking thing forever and be indecisive. At some point, you have to make a choice. You got to be able to pull the trigger. You have to be able to assess all of the pros and cons of your decision and make it. But if you don't make a decision, nothing happens. for you, but life goes on. You'll be stuck in that indecisive spot forever, but life is going to move on right past you. So blow that shit out of the window there, that no one should be shamed. No one's going to have to shame you because you're going to come to the reality that you fucked up. That's what happens. And then you'll blame everybody else, but actually it's your fault. And you know it's your fault. That's why you're up there crying and saying, is it too late? Is it too late for me to have IVF? You're asking yourself yet another question because you waited that long. Okay? So then she says, a woman shouldn't be shamed for wanting biological kids or wanting to know what it's like to be pregnant and carry her own child. Nobody says that a woman should be shamed for that. All we're saying is that you should make the choice within the time period that it makes sense to make the choice. So we see that here. So, here we go. We go back to this shaming, but it's not about shaming. So here's the next, thing that I want to tell you. We talk about geriatric pregnancy. So here is the results from Nebraska Medicine, Cleveland Clinic, and a number of other places that you can look up the effects of, geriatric pregnancy, the range, the age ranges, and whatnot. But here's a little snippet of it. The definition of geriatric pregnancy. We define advanced maternal age, formerly geriatric pregnancy, as those who are 35 years or older at their estimated delivery date. Historically, pregnancies at this age or older are considered at high risk for the patient and the fetus, for variable reasons. So some of those variable reasons are stillbirths, mothers dying in pregnancy, dying in labor, things like that. Having babies who are basically deformed, things like that. So, there are a number of things that you can look at on these lists. You go to Cleveland Clinic, you go to Nebraska Medicine, whoever you want to go to. Just look up geriatric pregnancy. Go to a reputable medical site and look at the information. This could help you at making that decision if you are one of these people who are waiting forever to find a person. Because you can't get me to believe that somebody like Lolo has passed by all of these men. She's around men all the time, men with money, all these men. And I know she's had takers because she said that she's had a lot of people who have tried to get her. And she said no, because she's waiting. Because, you're not my perfect guy. My perfect guy has one gold tooth and one earring and one eye that's closed, and he has blonde hair. Some kind of amorphous description that she's waiting on, to see in a man in order for him to be the perfect guy. Well, nobody's fucking perfect, but I'm sure there's a guy out there that would have treated her like a queen, that would have treated her, made her a great husband and a great father for her kids. But she passed them up. She probably passed up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. I mean, I look back in my life and I know I passed up maybe 4 or 5 good women who would have made me a good wife. So I know she can look back and say, hey, this guy might have been good. This guy might have been good, but I just, I let him get away. We all have somebody that we know might have been a good person that got away. So, this is tragic, but this can be avoided. People need to start telling these women the truth. Okay. So here's another evidence-based births. Okay. So we'll go down on some of this. Okay. And it shows you, a few graphs with some good information. I'm going to put this in the description as well. This is a lot of information, so I'm not going to go over all of it, but I'm going to go over this part, which is, why is parenthood being delayed? The trend to delay parenthood is happening all around the world. the availability of birth control is partially responsible. One of those gifts from the 70s and feminism. Okay. So this is when all of that started being taught and started being pushed on these women who were supposedly unhappy for, staying at home and being, stay-at-home moms and all of that. Anytime you see it in movies and whatnot, you see these women and they're just so unhappy. But that wasn't the case. If you go back and you look at the news reports and, some of the other information that's out there, you'll see that women were fighting against these feminists because they wanted to stay at home. They didn't want to go out and do all of this stuff. Some of them did, but they still liked the freedom that they had at being home and being able to take care of their kids and, having free time. Not to say that they couldn't have done other things, because there's another lie that's going around where they say, well, women couldn't go to school. Women couldn't have bank accounts. I hear that all the time. But I'm going to share some other stuff with you guys. I'm going to share some stuff from my family that disproves all of that, and all this stuff about, men being against these women and all that. When men were sending these women to school, their brothers were working with their fathers, and their mothers and saving money to send these daughters to school in the 1800s, in early 1900s. Okay. Right at the end of the Civil War, we had black women going to college, but we got black women out here talking about all the stuff that they couldn't do historically because they don't know. They're just parroting out what they've been told. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, the availability of birth control is partly responsible for more people postponing parenthood. However, birth rates in younger people have also gone down in the countries that do not use birth control. So we can't isolate birth control as the main reason. It's thought that worldwide there are other cultural, and economic factors that play a bigger role than contraception in the increasing age of pregnancy most pregnant people. Okay. So, and it cites the research that indicates that, and it's from 2011 to 2019. Okay, reasons people delay pregnancy and parenthood include women are reaching higher educational levels. Okay, more women work in male-dominated fields that are not as understanding or supportive of motherhood. Okay. Cultural and value shifts that have led towards more people not feeling ready to have a child yet. Okay. Lack of childcare, low benefit levels, and workplace policies that signal to people that you cannot be both a wage earner and a mother. Okay. So you can't have it all. Okay. Economic and housing uncertainty, unemployment, temporary work, and or unstable labor markets. Okay. Medical reasons, divorce, not knowing the right person to have a child with, and living together before marriage leads some people to delay parenthood. Okay. Interestingly, while some delay parenthood because of not being in a stable relationship, having a stable partner is actually linked to giving birth to your first child at a later age. Okay, university level education, higher income level, and job stability are also linked to giving birth to your first child at a later age. Okay. So, people are electing to have babies later and later, which leads to other complications. Chances of getting pregnant at 35 or older. As a person ages, fertility, the chance you will get pregnant or can get pregnant, get your partner pregnant, is reduced. For females, this decline begins slowly in the early 30s and speeds up in the late 30s and 40s. If you have been trying to get pregnant for about 12 months and still have not conceived, or if you are 35 and older and have not been able to conceive after trying for 6 months, then it is usually recommended to see a care provider for evaluation for infertility. Okay? But you have all these women waiting, 35 and older, and talking about how beautiful they are, and 35 is the new 20, and 60 is the new 30, and all of that. Okay? These are the lies that they tell young women. This goes into, the Sex and the City writer and Cosmopolitan and all of this data, this media out here that was basically selling this dream to these women, that they can go out and they can just, kick it. And that's just not the case. But women are still hanging on to that rope, so it's causing a ripple in the birth rates. So a lot of women are going to miss out. They're going to think that they can wait and wait and wait, and then they're going to find out that they can't have kids. Another situation that came up, I'll pull it up in a sec, but let's move on this. Okay. Females are born with all of the eggs that they will ever have. The decline in the fertility with age is due to a decrease in the number of eggs available for fertilization, as well as a decrease in the quality of eggs, okay? i.e. eggs that can produce a genetically typical embryo after fertilization, okay? In 1986, researchers carried out a classic study to find out how likely it is for people to get pregnant as they age. They looked at people who were receiving artificial insemination with donor sperm. This study design was important because some people argue that lowered fertility is related to a decrease in the amount of sex people have as they age. However, with this study, there is no way the frequency of sex could explain the findings, since the male partners were sterile. Okay, and this was Schwartz and May. I don't know how that's pronounced, but in 1982. Okay, participants received artificial insemination once a month for up to 1 year or until they became pregnant. Most 74% of those under the age of 31 were pregnant within 1 year, but that number went down to 62% of people between 31 and 34, and 54% of people aged 35 and older. According to the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, the best reproductive years are in your 20s. Okay? Kevin Samuels talked about this a lot, but women are still arguing the facts. Your best reproductive years, according to the American Society of Reproductive Medicine, is in your 20s. Okay? By the age of 30, a healthy, fertile female has a 20% chance of getting pregnant each month of trying to conceive. By age 40, someone has about a 5% chance of getting pregnant each month. In addition to advanced age, sexually transmitted infections, smoking, and having a body mass index of 18.5 or above 25 can lead to decreasing fertility. So, one of the main problems that we're having today is obesity, especially in Black people, especially in Black women. Okay? And outside of that, just about all Americans, but we see it in a larger degree in Black Americans and Black females. I mean, it's just the way it is. Okay. Male fertility declines with age as well. Researchers have found strong evidence that as males age, they can expect a decline in sperm counts, semen volume, sperm motility, and the number of normal sperm. Older females with older male partners who are trying to get pregnant may experience the combination of female and male age-related fertility decline. Okay, and that's Johnson, page by Johnson. They got a paper, 2015. Okay. You can maximize your chances of getting pregnant at any age by charting your menstrual cycle either on paper or with an app to identify the most fertile days, tracking your fertility signs at home, primarily waking temperature, cervical fluid, and cervical position. Can also help to reveal causes of infertility. For example, waking temps can show whether you are ovulating at all. For more information, visit Taking Care of Your Fertility. Okay. All right. So I'll leave it at that because as you can see, there's a lot of information here, a lot of useful information, and that's for guys and girls, because I know this is going to be a tiffy topic, but excuse me. So let's take a look at this. Nope, that ain't it. Where you at? Yeah, there it is.
Happy for her. Congrats to Brett and Judy. Look at her. She's glowing. I wonder if they're going to do a gender reveal.
Okay. So there you have the brat. Let's do this one more time.
The brat is pregnant at the age of 48.
Okay, you see that? At the age of 48. Now, they tried to get pregnant before, and I don't know who's the donor or whatnot, but they both wanted to be pregnant at the same time, but they were basically both crying because they were told that they were too old to have kids. So now, I guess the brat finally got pregnant by somebody. I don't know how they went about doing that. I don't know if it was artificial or if they went through the natural shebang. I'm not sure. But as you can see, they are both happy about the child that they're going to bring up. And one is pregnant. I don't think the other one was able to get pregnant. They're both up in age. So this is one of the problems that they have. I mean, they were very, very upset. But, I mean, if you choose to be in a relationship with a same-sex type of relationship, those are one of the types of things that you're going to have to deal with also. And that is people of the same sex don't have kids. But, again, we change the rules and we bring kids up in these situations. So, okay. Yet another situation that's brought about by magical thinking. But again, women are just waiting long times to have these children, and it's not smart.
I'm so happy for her. Congrats to Brett and Judy. Look at her.
Yeah, look at her. She's just absolutely glowing. People are happy about this. This guy here, he's happy about it. Brad's always been kind of fine, but yeah. So good luck to her. Hopefully she doesn't have any complications and whatnot. But as we see, women are constantly trying to push that envelope and make things happen that are against the natural order of things, and you're going to push until you start bringing up, these kids with these developmental issues and whatnot. And then, you're going to either pay for that on your own or you're going to put that burden on society, but either way, it's not a good thing, and it's selfish for you to sit up and wait and wait and wait and wait. And if you're thinking about having children, there's a time that you got to do it in that you can be a good mother and a good father, and be active in that child's life and be able to be happy about it and have the energy, to deal with a child. If you wait until you're older and all that, you're robbing your child of being a good parent. A parent's not just supposed to sit around and shit and watch the kid run around all fast and whatnot. You're supposed to be running around with that kid, throwing balls with that kid, or whatever, with that little girl, whatever. You're supposed to be doing those things. You're supposed to teach that little girl how to be a wife, how to be a productive woman, how to be a good man, whatever, for that boy, developmental skills. So if you wait too long, only thing you can teach them to be is a good grandmother and a good grandfather. So think about that. So those are, some of the things that we are, that we're faced with when we start to talk about some of these things. So, I want you guys to, tell me what you think about some of the things that we talked about in this. And, just let me know if you think that I'm being too harsh, if I'm off the mark. You think I'm wrong? You think I'm right? I'd like to, carry the conversation on a bit, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Should this be taught, in these schools as a counter way to some of this feminism that's being taught that tells these women to go out and do all of these extraordinary things while foregoing, their desire to be, a mother and a wife, because clearly this woman, it was put in her head to basically, yes, keep her virginity, which was fine, but you're keeping it for how long? Why did you pass up so many viable candidates to be your husband, only to then start crying later on because it's almost too late for you to freeze your eggs? And then once you freeze your eggs, how long are you going to freeze those eggs for? You froze your eggs at 40. You still don't have a man. How long are you going to wait? So, the self-induced problem continues. So, this has been another interesting show, and I appreciate you guys. If you take you like content, go ahead and, like it, share it, please subscribe. I'm trying to get my subs up. If you want to share this out to some places, get this out to some other folks who you think will be interested in this. If you think that there's something that you want me to cover, please, send it out. Abukiball at gmail.com or abukiball1@gmail.com. Also, Abukiball on Twitter. Abukiball1 on Twitter. You guys hit me up. We're going to have discussions. You can send me things that you might want me to cover and whatnot, and I appreciate it. This has been another Abuki Cabal production. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. So I'll see you guys next time.